Good morning, folks. Yeah, folks, kind of an old-timey word people don't use much. Here's kind of where I'm gonna go today. I'm gonna play a little SAO, not much. And yes, my character's name is Millie, as in Millie Thompson from Trigun, possibly one of my favorite female characters in anime. Um, anyway, some things have been brought to my attention. Some very interesting things, courtesy of Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, yeah. I'm gonna say the thing that my dad used to say a lot when I was a kid: if you can't do the crime, don't do the time. Or if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And that should be applied to everyone in this country, every single person. I don't care if you're the president, former president, the homeless person on the street, it doesn't matter who you are. Okay? In fact, actually, there are some homeless people out there who would probably rather be in a prison cell than freezing to death during the winter, and I'm going to be blunt about that. We're more worried about imprisoning people who smoked a little bit of grass back in the day, keeping them in jail, than we are I'm gonna go here too. I'm interested in ripping our borders open for people who, by the way, when you say illegal immigrant, we're not just talking about from Mexico or Honduras. Now we're seeing people from China and the Middle East and Africa come through. I don't have a problem with people from these areas coming through legally, but the key part to that phrase is that word legally. Alright? It's the same thing. You can't call me a racist for that because I don't care what their race is. They could be German. They could be Irish. They could be British. I'd tell them the same thing. In fact, actually, part of my family, if I'm not mistaken, came over here from Ireland at one point in time. I'd have to double check the family genealogy on that one, so don't quote me on it. But I feel confident enough to say it before I've had a cup of coffee and talk to certain family members about it to buff up on it. I feel pretty safe on that, given the amount of Irish and Scottish DNA that's in my family. So, if I'd say that to my own Scottish and Irish brothers over in the Isles, what makes you think that someone from Mexico, China, Honduras, or any of these other countries should be treated any different? Number one. Number two, saying that you want secure borders for the sovereignty and the maintenance of the fabric of your nation is racist. It's like saying that you being replaced by artificial intelligence for having poor job performance is somehow sexist. It has nothing to do with your gender, it has to do with your piss poor job performance. I'm being friggin' serious here, people. You're looking for scapegoat bits to try to answer to your own subjects. And that's what it is. No one cares about your race anymore. No one cares about your gender anymore. What we care about is people who aren't doing their jobs. Like, alright, I'll be straight with everyone here who sees this. The reason I haven't done auto mechanics as any sort of profession, despite the fact that I went to college for it, it has everything to do with my work ethic. It is a lot easier for me to sit here and make videos or go to stuff that I'm doing every day and record it on a video. And say, okay, bust out 4 to 5 oil changes in an hour or more, to have to replace what was February in the state of Maine. You know, a lot. Am I making any money at it because I have an audience? No, I don't have an audience yet. But also look at my channel. I'm not even a full month old on my channel at this point in time as of recording this video. Or the broadcast this live stream. Is that an excuse? Yes, absolutely it's an excuse, but it's one Instagram fact. The fact is that my channel is not old enough to have, I'm still at the baby. And I know my content is boring as hell, which means I've been for a really rough ride as well as the audience is really as a show online. And my understanding is most important features like that I'll be honest. I also know that while I may talk real about like, I'm not so that kind of self-awareness is really difficult to have. Voice actors takes my way up for these politicians, which is the upholding which stays let the law change. Once you get into the hall of Congress and the Senate, there's some sort of issue that you want to bring up, and then you can just forget about it because it's not, you're not going to get it. You're not. And that's just being honest. Like, there's just no way to get anywhere with those people until we vote them out. Which is another thing too, like, I agree with the J6 protesters. Now, I have to differentiate here, which is something that the left isn't willing to do, is differentiate between those legitimately protesting because they felt like they were robbed of their voice during the election, and those who were committing violence. Those who are committing acts of violence, absolutely lock them up. You know, like did it not getting prison time? Ridiculous. I'm saying theft. That's my theft. He's a damn federal agent, and he got off prison because he probably won't ever see a day of community service, even though it's what the judge gave him, because the courts will just say, oh, well, he's already done his community service because he's a federal agent. I guarantee you that's enough to the court, and then he's going to disappear somewhere, to get a name change and some stupid thing like that, and he'll just wait until they need some quote-unquote useful idiot again, 5-10 years down the road. I guarantee you that's the offer. He's literally the throwaway guy that they paid a little extra from the Bureau to do something corrupt because they needed some way to weed out the people that they thought were going to be violent. When in fact what they did was they inspired people to be violent and other people like them. I guarantee you that it's not that hard. You're talking about the same organization that is responsible for the it. It's not that hard to figure out. Yeah, that's great. I never use those potions. You know, and a lot of people out there are going to say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist, whack job. Okay, and what's your point? Where am I wrong about any of this? Prove it. You know, call me what you want, but right is right. And even by the way, I could be the broken clock and still be wrong twice a day. Like, I could be wrong about everything else and right about some things. And that's reality. In fact, a lot of people out there are more wrong than they are right. That's true. But even those people get some things right. Whether you want to accept or admit it or not is irrelevant. It's just a statistical fact. You just say enough things, sometimes you're going to be right. But the other thing I want to say is, the whole Hunter Biden thing. If any American citizen who is not the son of the President of the United States tried to pull that kind of shit, we'd be frog-marched in front of Congress in cuffs and made to answer for anything. And the second we didn't, we'd be held in contempt of Congress, thrown into a courtroom under charges of contempt of Congress. And then when we said that we had nothing to say on the matter, it wouldn't matter because we'd still be, held in contempt of court and then held until we decided to say something. And we all know this is true. But because Hunter Biden has the right people paid up, and because his father's a Democrat president, guess what? Little Hunty boy gets special treatment over the rest of us. It's more examples of this rules for thee, not for me BS paradigm that we're stuck in this country, and quite frankly, we're all sick of seeing it. You want to elect these people who do this stuff. And then the media just brushes it under the rug. Boy, if his name was Donald Trump Jr., or anyone with a Trump last name or a Republican R next to their name that was a populist, the media would crucify him for this. Oh, no. It's the protected class. The Democrat political class that's going right along with the globalist frog march of the American people. You wanted to know what it is? There it is. And you know what? I'm gonna quote fucking Alex Jones here. They're turning the frogs gay, because guess what? I looked at a study the other day. You can say what you want to about this study, but there's a certain fact behind it. Our water supplies are contaminated with all kinds of shit and it's mostly the pharmaceutical end's part, but it's also a large part our part. Because we're the people who flush this shit into our ground soil and into our fucking water supplies. We kept dumping our pharmaceuticals down the toilet. And that right there, that's the thing that people don't realize. Oh, the sewer system, is separate from the water system. Buddy, it's only separate from the water system until you get to the ocean. Or wherever you're getting your water supply from. In a town nearby where I live, actually several towns nearby where I live, they have this nice little thing called a watershed. It's usually a lake, alright, that's fed to by a stream. And there are people who live along the lines of that stream who flush their toilets. And they go into their septic system. Well, guess what? When they flush those pharmaceuticals, some of these pharmaceutical chemicals don't break down the way they're supposed to, but they seep out in the ground soil from their septic systems through a leach field or something similar. Guess what happens? It makes its way through to a water table, which feeds into that, watershed, and guess what? But it's enough to cause issues long term. Maybe not in me, but maybe in my kids, my grandkids, and actually to some extent too. I would say that it does me. I would argue that. wrong, but look at the research for yourselves. I'm not doing it. People sit a cursory through research to tell you this information. You don't have to take it. I have no clue. Like the previous company where these politicians it's just like, it's just and I'm not going to have to do it. Once you feel bad for look at what accurate to what it said, not what they personally believe. Then, that's better when I got on, I guess. I'm not sure. I have to double check. But, if that's the way it's going to be, where they're only paying out like $1,000 a month and making millions of dollars off of the backs of whoever's doing the work. I hate to burst your bubble, but that's the way the company's going to go. Look at, I'll use Walmart, my time at Walmart as an example. Because I wasn't a manager. Because I cost $800. You know? And that's just the way that it was. Once you get to a point where your expenses cost more than your value, there it is. And by the way, it's not really your value, it's their perceived value of you. So let's use Walmart as a good example of this. To be honest, I would should be able to guess what? They're going to consider laying you off. And it has nothing to do with your work ethic. It could just be business flow. They're going to look for layoffs, or you're just going to be fired for quote-unquote non-performance. It is the way that it is. And you know what? I'm going to say that it goes a step further, too. In Walmart, so low as a department, like in the auto care end of things especially, the department gets cannibalized by the rest of the store, and that is the way that it is, because it costs the market to replace oil when it gets past a certain date. Now they have quote-unquote expiration dates on tires. You have other things that need to be done, and this is on top of, this is just like on the top of the cherry cake that is paying employees who are standing around a garage for sometimes 2-3 hours at a rip, not doing much because there's not much to do. You stop, pump your DM, your shelves on the floor when it came to those car batteries. That's all close to the dollar shop, something Walmart is and whine at me for saying out loud, but I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna say, you know what, freedom of speech, you don't like it too bad. I am not employed by you. I have never signed an NDA, and I never will. I will say what I have to say, and you don't have to like it. That's not my problem. That's yours. You know, when you're an oil monkey, as I used to jokingly call myself, and you're done stocking batteries on the storefront, and it's a hot summer day, and there ain't no one there, and you're just sitting there drinking water that the company, by the way, that's another thing too, like, that's another expense that people don't realize. Walmart pays for bottled water for its employees on hot days. They're a really good place to work. And when you have no customers to work for in the automotive industry, guess what? If this happens for too long, not only do you become expendable, but your department becomes expendable too. It's the way business is. It has nothing to do with gender, or race, or the southern things. That really doesn't. Guess what? You're just expendable. That is business culture. There's nothing to do about it, because what is a business there to do? They're there to make money. I started a project a couple months ago. Actually, probably close to 9 months ago. I reviewed a single bottle. I made more money sitting here on my butt, counting bottles and cans for a family member, and taking them to a redemption center. And if you don't live in a state that has that, that's where you take the bottles in and you get like I've made more money doing that than I have on the project that I'm working on. It is my pet project, and I'm not going to stop working on it. Right now, I'm kind of on a little bit of a hiatus because it's winter time, and I have other more survivalistic things that need my attention. But as soon as I have the free time to deal with it, to get back into the project is going to take priority. Some people sit here and say, well, you don't need to make the videos, no one's watching. Well, actually, this is part of that project. Growing it on is part of this little pet project of mine. You know. Someday, I will release the logs of what I'm doing, so that way people can see, you know, post project release, they can see what I'm working on, you know, and maybe then, I mean, you're not going to see the whole overriding project, because the whole overriding project is going to be a project itself, but you're going to see little bits and pieces of what I'm doing. It's going to be devlog, or product development log, basically. I'm not going to say that what I'm making, I'm not going to advertise my product yet, because it's not even out of alpha testing. We're not even at the alpha testing phase. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm still in the process of working out, you know, all the fine workings of it. You know, it is what it is. And you know what? There are going to be people out there who see this whole overlay session and they're just going to say, don't buy whatever it is he's making because he's conservative. Which I say, that is my product, it's good, my politics is good. As long as I'm not definitely kids, it shouldn't matter. I'm straight up going to say that. I will straight up say that on YouTube. As long as I'm not advocating for something that abhorrent, then my politics don't matter. My voting for Trump doesn't matter. My views on how what matters is my product. If it's mediocre, then fine. That's a criticism that I deserve. You know, let's say I was writing a book, That's not what the big project is. The big project is more of a digital media of sorts. But let's say I was a book that absolutely should be published, right? But I have this absolutely terrible political view. Guess what? They're just gonna put me in as a pseudonym, or write me in as a nom de guerre, and they're gonna find someone else's face to put on it. I'm still gonna get my money because I'm still gonna get paid through my publisher, and my book is still gonna get sold. I hate to burst your bubble, but most of your best authors that you love so much, if you were to talk to them politically, you wouldn't agree with a word that they say. And that's just me being blunt. When they write these books about politics, they write it because they're getting paid to write it. It's not that they actually believe it. It's a paycheck. Alright? It's what's popular at that point in time, so they put it in a book, and they slap a name on the cover. Whether it's their real name or not is irrelevant, because trust me, if anyone remembers their name, then they're probably a fan anyway. It's not going to be a hate remembrance, I'll tell you that much right now, because hate and disdain for something, unless it's like Adolf Hitler being the example, and probably being so bad that you get put in the annals of history, unless you made it that way, you're going to be forgotten by if people don't like my product, give them less than a week. I guarantee you it'll be forgotten. And that's the way that it is. If people don't like my book that I write, there you go. If people don't like the movie that I'm investigating doing, if people don't like the series that I've been thinking about, then that's on me because I wasted my time making it. It's not their fault. It's not the audience's fault. It's not, just like it's not the audience's fault, but the voiceover, not the voiceovers, but the localizers and the translators. It's not the translators' fault, actually, most of the time. Most of the time, this is not translators. These are localizers. He doesn't understand the whole context that's going on here in the States because he lives in Japan. He works in Japan. He lives in free. Care what a localizer's doing is when he really gets paid to translate. No, his care is about his job getting replaced by a freaking robot. People who don't understand artificial intelligence. You know, that's the way that it is. That's the way he feels. And I understand that. Believe me. The day that you have a robot that can do your glitch and everything else, the day that alright, you want AI and robotics to impress me but also have me really upset, have it so they can then I'll be really upset because I won't have anything to do. Alternatively, if I'm working, 80 plus hours a week on a project and I don't want to take the time to do these things, then that robot would be beneficial for someone in that circumstance. Sure. I say that there is a market for it. I would argue that there is a market for it. Chop it up to about $1,500 per robot with an extended service. Who's what's it? It sweeps, it mops, it does your laundry, dishes, and I wouldn't say cooks because, come on, man. I mean, I could be wrong. You'd probably follow a recipe to the letter, Does my grocery shopping, does my car maintenance right down to, spot welding the exhaust whenever it gets a hole in it, and curse you, the state of Maine, for using enough salt to supply the whole nation on our roads in just this one state. And if you don't know the correlation between rust and salt, look it up. For another cursory Google search that would be good for your edification. Yeah, I mean, you want to impress me with these robots and this AI. Don't make an adult pleasure bot. Give me a bot that does all my chores and stuff for me. I know that sounds lazy and terrible to say, but it's true. It is true. I hate how this inverts like that. You know, people don't like my opinion on that matter, but if you want to impress me, do that. Don't do what you're doing. Do the other thing. When it came to the automotive industry, and I know people are sick of hearing me say this, if they even watch this, I seriously doubt my viewer count is anything to write home about. Like, not even kidding. Alright, let's go there. Let's pull up my channel here. 3 subs. Yeah, I have 1 viewer, and I'm pretty sure it's me. And I've been at it for 31 minutes. But I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't think these should be that long. I'm not Tim Pool. I don't have guests. I don't think these should be like me prattling on for hours on end. Although there are some people out there who might enjoy that sort of thing. But there's a certain reality where you have to be self-aware, and I am very self-aware. You know, if I had a guest or two, I wouldn't be doing it out, doing this out from like 3 to 6 o'clock. I wouldn't be. It would be probably in the summer or in the afternoon. People are actually awake. People are actually going to watch this stuff, which is another thing. Like, this is my fault. The old really videos are not intended to be... They're more like my own personal gripes, thoughts, and complaints made public. You can see them if you want to. I don't expect them to be monetized. I don't expect them to have a high viewership, whatever. They're my own personal hot takes. In fact, if the name Hot Takes wasn't used so much, these would be called the playlist for these would be called Hot Takes, not Oh Really. Oh Really is just like my attempt at personalized branding, which is and it just kind of is what it is. There it is. Like, yeah. And also, back to kind of what I was saying a little bit, most normal people out there that aren't trying to make YouTube or aren't trying to do their own publications and things, they're not interested in any of this stuff. Like, you go to the guy that works at, let's see here, you go to the 30-plus year mechanic that's working on your car, and you ask him about the localizer drama, or even sometimes politics stuff, they'll sit there and say, I don't really care. Because they don't. They really don't. What they care about is getting your car on the road and the next 50 cars that they have to work on in a day so they can get paid. That's the reality. Yeah, it is what it is. And really, I think left and right deserves a blowjack on that. because, like, you're both sides are gonna go, you're not into politics. And it's like, dude, we're not into politics because we're sick of hearing about it. We have other things to do with our lives. And this is coming from someone who was an auto mechanic back when Trump was president, and I was working other jobs back when Obama was president. You know, ask me if I cared back when I was going to college what Obama had to say about anything, and I mean anything, and the answer was no. Ask me if I cared about what Trump said as it regards to race or any of that stuff. The answer is no. What I cared about is putting food on my table. And here's the thing, and this is the thing that both left and right need to get through their freaking thick skulls. We don't really care about your international BS. Leave us out of these friggin' stupid wars. Worry about what's going on at home. We care about putting food on our tables. We care about the gas that's going into our cars and how much we're paying for it. We care about our privacy. EVs are not an acceptable alternative to gas vehicles, because then you get to say, oh, well, your vehicle doesn't get to charge anymore because you said something we don't like. These are the things that we worry about because we don't like what you're doing. And yet we keep being forced to vote for the same people that we're forced to vote for, because people like me who might run for office maybe someday will never see that opportunity because, you know, it's a two-party system and both parties suck. They do suck. And if I did have my way, I would run for some office somewhere. And my rule would be the rule of law and government staying out of your daily life. I'm sorry. Isn't that hard? Isn't that hard to defend a border, enforce the law, and stay out of everyone's life on a daily basis, and minimize your impact on the economy as a governmental force? Is it really that hard to do? I mean, sure, you can push for a bunch of great stuff, like, you know, better exhaust filters on cars or some nonsense, because the current catalytic converters aren't worth the money that are being put into them. Trust me. They don't do what you think they do. They don't work the way that you think they work. We have better technology that would cost the consumer less and would make this whole catalytic converter theft thing not relevant. We do. We really do. And it starts on the other end of the engine, not the exhaust end. Look it up. But anyway, yeah, we're going to end this right here. 37 minutes in. I think that's enough for you guys hearing me talk about this stuff. Hopefully everyone enjoys their day. We don't have a storm on our end here in Maine, as far as I'm aware. If we're going to get one, you know, it's going to be a day or two out. This has been Zero in the O'Reilly sessions, and hopefully everyone really enjoys their week.